Most business owners are using AI for basic tasks like emails. The ones that are getting ahead, they're using it to transform how they work. I'm Tania Gomez. 6 months ago, I didn't know the difference between ChatGPT and a chatbot. Now I'm learning from AI experts, testing tools in real businesses, and sharing everything that works. Because AI won't replace you, but someone using AI will. This is the AI Apprentice. Join our free community of practice at providercollective.com.au, where hundreds of business owners are learning together. We start as AI apprentices, but we leave as masters. Let's get into it. Welcome to the AI Apprentice. My name is Tania Gomez, and today I'm joined by the lovely Chris Lapa.
Thanks for having me, Tania.
Yeah. Before we get into it, can you give us a little bit of background about your business and how you help providers with AI?
So in essence, it started with marketing kind of advisory or marketing support. So anything from sort of running campaigns to building marketing plans. And that's looking at kind of all offline, online channels. And then by virtue, I end up becoming more of a growth advisor. And so looking at the sales side of things, the marketing and sales together. And then we lean into automations, technology adoption. And then all of a sudden AI comes into the picture. And then we're talking about, can AI leverage or be better leverage for marketing, for sales? And then we look at operations. So end up being more of a growth advisor. But yeah, it generally starts with marketing or growth.
Beautiful. Today I wanted to talk to you about how AI fits into your workday and about you specifically as a case study of how you can use AI as a small or medium business. What does a typical workday with AI look like for you? What type of tools are you using? How are you using it? And how, what are some examples?
I think there's the obvious things I'm using, and then there's the other tools that the platforms that I'm running ads and things on that have AI in them. So what I use, my main go-tos are Google Gemini and ChatGPT, as well as other things we'll talk about. Google Gemini for me is really integrated in my business. I'm Google Suite. So me and my team are on Google Suite. So everyone gets Gemini with their membership, which means we have access to it across everything we do. So I use Gemini in strategy planning. We can talk a bit more about that. But, you know, even things like when I open up my emails in Gmail, Gemini's there. It's much better for advanced search in email. If I go into my Google Docs or into my folders, my Drive, Gemini is really good at accessing a lot of information and doing a lot more search, a lot more thorough search. So it just speeds things up. ChatGPT, I just kind of bounce between Gemini and ChatGPT when I talk about the kind of LLM conversational side of things, more out of curiosity, just to kind of see. And I just find that sometimes they're better. I think ChatGPT is better, but because I use Gemini in the rest of my business, I kind of lean towards Gemini. Outside of that, every paid ads platform I'm using has an element of AI. So Google has AI in terms of Google Ads. Meta has AI, the whole kind of AI optimization, suggestions and stuff. And anything else we're using generally has an element built in. So we look at leveraging their AI as well. But we'll talk more about where they're not as good as they think they are. And I think there's some sort of underlying reasons why they suggest AI use in their platforms.
That's interesting. What are some small practical ways that you use AI within your day? Take us through, you've talked about the tools. How do you use them?
So searching anything I'm looking for in my folders, my libraries, is just a lot faster with Gemini. Not having to crawl through folders, and the sort of traditional search function isn't as good. When I'm looking at Google Docs, having Gemini sitting right there next to me, I can get summaries of long Google documents. I can find things quicker. I can kind of expand on certain sections in the doc. So having it sitting right there, compared to, for example, if you only use ChatGPT, you have to like export the doc and import it into ChatGPT or do something like that. So it's really handy to have it there. Day to day, I also use it for, like I do a lot in strategy and a lot in research and a lot in planning for clients. And so I use AI to do a lot of research, a lot of deep thinking, and I use it as like a second business partner almost. I'm working by myself a lot of the time, so it's good to have the AI to kind of be the second brain. So if I'm thinking about a broad 12-month go-to-market strategy rather than how do I run a Facebook ad tomorrow, I do a lot of work in there. Copywriting, a lot of copywriting happens in there, but it's only if we've trained an AI properly. So if we've trained the AI with a proper brand framework and all of those things, we're using it every day to draft copy, to refine copy, and what used to take hours and hours and hours takes minutes, as long as we've done the groundwork.
And so when you say trained an AI, are you talking about making custom GPTs for each of your clients that has their style guides in it?
More or less, yeah. So whenever I bring a client on board, and this isn't unique to any sector, but it's really important to go through a process of understanding their customer and what makes the business unique. So I have a framework that I go through, call it a questionnaire, discovery, deep dive, whatever. And it asks a lot of questions around what makes you unique. Give me some direct quotes from your customers. Imagine what their fears, their pains, their frustrations, their wants, their needs are. So I gather a lot of information. Then I couple that with a brand guide or voice tone and style guide and things like that. If they don't have it, we might use AI to help generate that. So then we compile all of that together and we'll create some sort of, it's called a custom gem in Gemini or a custom GPT. Another thing that we use is Notebook LM, which is Google's kind of more secured AI system that only learns on what you feed it. And so Notebook LM is again another way to build an AI that learns only off what you give it, not the whole web. So I use a few of those to kind of bring it all together. Then we can start writing copy after we know what they want to say, what they don't want to say, once we've set constraints and done all the groundwork. So it's very different to, hey, ChatGPT, write me a copy for a blog, or hey, you're a 20-year veteran in copywriting, I want you to write me a blog for NDIS support coordination or whatever. Even those detailed prompts aren't as good if you haven't given it the guidance and the frameworks. So yes, a GPT or something similar.
Yeah. Has AI changed the way you think about your work and your approach to work?
Yes. So firstly, I've always been a bit of a, I guess, generalist. And it's really exciting for me to hear that a lot of the experts out there saying everyone should be a generalist now. The cool thing is I've always known a little bit about a lot of things in marketing or growth, but now I can go even deeper. And so for me, I'm more confident as a growth partner for businesses because they can ask me some pointy questions where once upon a time I may have to deflect or send them over to a separate agency or a separate provider. I can answer a lot of that because I keep myself more abreast of things and I can go deeper down each channel. So I feel more confident as a growth partner to answer questions quicker and to give them better guidance. It doesn't rule out bringing specialists in when I think they need to be in, because I don't think AI does enough to give generalists the 20 years on the tools, so to speak. So there's a point where I've got to hand it over to an SEO specialist or to a web design specialist, but it gives me more confidence, means I can run my business leaner, and instead of building out a team, I just build out a good network of professionals that I refer to when I need to. And more importantly, it just means that I can have faster conversations and help clients move to the next step quicker. And then also the people I bring on, I don't need as big a team. So I can have a paid ads specialist for Facebook ads who can also write copy now. And so together, them and myself can make sure we've got a really powerful AI partner. So between the three of us, we can move quicker, we can build ads quicker, We use our designer to create the creative for it. We may use AI to brief it, but it just means we run leaner, we run faster, we can help clients quicker.
Is there
and cheaper, sorry.
And cheaper. And do you pass that savings on, or
Yes.
then do you?
A bit of both. Like, to be honest, you got to be profitable to help more people and to succeed. But at the same time, it is certainly beneficial for providers to, or businesses to work with someone like us who is leaner, because they will get the benefit for sure.
Is there one tool or automation that's made a noticeable impact on your work?
Yeah, so Gemini for sure, just across the Google suite. It's just a lot quicker to access information and to get an answer or to move to the next thing. So if I'm stuck in a Word doc on a strategy plan, Gemini is literally sitting right there where I can just punch something in and it gets me over the hurdle. So I don't even have to open a new tab to go to ChatGPT or to Gemini or to Claude or whatever platform. And so I just love it. If I'm in emails, the search function, like I could say, look at any email where I've spoken to Tania about AI, and it'll just bring a big summary through, and it'll even reference and link to them. So it's super fast in accessing information, which when you're juggling multiple things. Another one from a design perspective, when I'm playing around with my own content, is Opus Clip. There are a dime a dozen the video editing platforms, but I love Opus Clip. You can put in, for example, a 1 hour podcast interview that you and I would do, drop it into Opus Clip, and within minutes, I've got 20 mini clips that I can sort of tweak and edit, still with human intervention, and get 20 posts that are pretty good for social content within an hour, maybe 2 max. And if you set it up in a process moving forward with your brand template and stuff, it's so much quicker.
Yeah.
So yeah, design-wise, Opus Clip, Gemini, and Notebook LM. One I want to let everyone know on this podcast. One of the coolest things about Notebook LM, the way I use it, is, so I'm deep in developing a product with some other guys that we work with, Greg and Paul. And so I'm obsessing over product development, you know, the likes of how Canva does things, or Miro, or whatever the thing is, Monday.com, all of these kind of tech builds. And so I've found a really cool podcast I love. And every episode that I really enjoy, and I think I can use it later on, I put it into Notebook LM, and then it's got some cool features where you can do an AI summary in audio. So it creates a mini podcast of the 8 episodes I've put in there, and you can go like short, medium, or long. And so it talks about all the concepts in that podcast. It does like mind maps of the key findings in those podcasts. So, and because it's only curated based on what you give it, it doesn't kind of get the noise and the extra garbage around. So Notebook LM, if you're trying to, like, for people studying, for people wanting to start a business, I'd create a notebook for finance, on people you like, resources you love, and then that can kind of be a bit of a guide on finance. Same with marketing, so on and so forth. So yeah, I've said a few, but they're probably my faves.
I use Notebook LM quite a lot for my study, but also for all the regulation changes. So for support at home, it's a brand new aged care scheme, having to learn that really quickly. So I've put every piece of everything in there, and I love the mind map feature that you can mind map it out, click on the mind maps, and then it shows you the references.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is I use that information because every platform or tool has a slightly different, you know, probably use case in the background that they've developed it for, although they say they're all usable for everything. Yeah. But I find that Notebook LM, it can't then like write a blog with that information, or, you know, so what I do is I use Notebook LM to write briefs, then I put the brief into another LM. I find that works really well, and taking them from one LM to another. I usually have, you know, 3 or 4 open at the top of my browser. And another thing that you introduced me to was Prompt Cowboy. So I'll do something in Notebook LM, write the brief as a Word doc, and then I'll write the prompt into
into ChatGPT, take the prompt out of ChatGPT into Cowboy, into Prompt Cowboy, and then if it's a writing, I find Claude is way better than ChatGPT at copy.
Yeah.
So I'll then put it into Claude, and then sometimes I'll then take that and put that into ChatGPT to get it to find issues, and then go between a few different platforms. I find it's a little bit time consuming, but I find that you can actually do it quite fast because you can have 4 windows open. So you can be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's kind of how my brain works anyway, multiple tabs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Organized chaos. 2 really important things for anyone listening. One is be very aware of the nuance of each platform. You're spot on with what you said, like, and pay particular attention and even document it if you can. I need to take my own advice there. But for example, Notebook has a limit with how many characters you can put in with the prompt. It just won't let you submit it. It's not telling me how many are there, so I'm forever trying to work out. So then I'm having to be like, Gemini, write me a shorter prompt, and I drop it into Notebook. So there are nuances. And so for anyone listening, pay close attention to the nuances, the outputs, the differences, because they do have their own strengths and weaknesses. Don't rely on one. I think we're in the age of be curious, test and learn, and just explore for yourself. Don't get caught up under someone telling you ChatGPT is all you need, because your workflow and your business and the way you do things are very different. And to your second point around each platform has its purpose. And so the workflow, I think everyone needs to realize that it's not as simple as ChatGPT will do all the answers in one chat and one conversation. You need to find your new workflow. The difference is you're not relying on 3, 4, 5 different people. You're relying on 2, 3, 4 different AI systems, which is still heaps quicker and heaps cheaper, but it's not like that quick.
Yeah.
It's not the drop of a hat quick. There is still hours and time dedicated to learning it and finding that workflow for you.
Yeah, someone I have interviewed for this podcast was talking to me about thinking about AI as a new employee and really spending the time that's needed to inform it about context.
Yep.
And by when you're prompting, it was OptiEase who said it, now I've remembered. In the OptiEase podcast, we were talking about how to prompt, prompt amazingly. And that was the number one advice, is that it really is data in, data out. So if it's good information in, it's going to be good information out. And a lot of this AI slop that we see around is just lazy prompting. It's not actually the AI being bad or general or not there. But just like when you're training a new staff member, having to give them a lot of context, a lot of instructions, a lot of information really then helps you to avoid getting a crap generic response out.
I think I'm in a unique position in that sense. As a kind of marketing team member for many years, or a strategist running point in agencies, you're forever briefing. And you would get a virtual or maybe a real slap over the head if you gave a designer a shitty brief. It's like, make this logo beautiful. It's like, that's not a brief. So if you imagine you've got a human on the other end and you're like, hey, ChatGPT, make this logo awesome. It has no context of what awesome is. Whereas if you're briefing a designer on the logos you love, and more importantly, the logos you hate, all of a sudden they have some direction. Some of the best designers come up with the best logos as long as they got a good brief. And that brief often also comes from a good foundational knowledge of the end goal, the end user, and what you're trying to achieve, right? And so it's funny, I was doing some study on the way down here about what we're going to chat about, and the same thing. So you've either got two things. You've got AI as a junior, as a admin junior, as a, what do you call them? Yeah, just a junior team member, intern or whatever, and you want to give them as much context to go and do that deep research that takes hours you don't want to do, but they need some guardrails. The other is you're briefing a really clever specialist, for example, building your website or building you an app, but you need a lot of context. And so you need to have AI be that expert or that junior, but you need to give them the guardrails and think about your end goal.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting to use AI and, you know, might have used Copilot or Gemini because it's built into their environments, but hasn't really played around with other LMs as far as where do they start? What's the best place to start? What's the best task to start with? What's some advice to make it really simple to get moving?
First and foremost, don't get FOMO. I'm guilty of it. I know you would be too. You know, you get this burning desire like you're missing out because you're not automating your email sequence because you watched a video just before and it's like, you could make millions automating your emails. And then the next day it's like, create content in minutes. And you're like, shit, I should be creating videos in minutes. Like, why am I not doing this? And so it's a use case. It's as simple as that. And so you're in business to do something, to deliver something. And so think about, are you profitable or not, and where you could find more profit and go down that avenue. Or if you're in the business of creating content, sure, go down that rabbit hole. Like, it just has to be contextualized to your business.
Yeah.
So first I would, whether it's back a napkin kind of chicken scratch stuff, like write out all the areas you feel like things could be better. Whether a human's going to do it better, whether AI is going to do it better, whether the pair together are going to do it better, whether you feel like your team need to upskill. There's so many things to think about. So don't get caught up in the hype. Think about your business and what you need to improve on.
Yeah.
And then start to explore each platform and do some research around use case for that particular need. You know, N8N versus Make.com or ChatGPT versus Gemini. Like we said, they all have different use cases or strengths and weaknesses. So do your research. Then test. Play with it. Play. If you're like, all right, I want to build a 12-month marketing strategy, go to ChatGPT and do the exact same thing with Gemini. Do the exact same thing with Claude. And just, or whatever system you're using, and just see the different output, because you'll start to see, it's like going to 3 different consultants. Like, they're all drawing from similar information. Like me as a marketing guy, I'm drawing from some of the best in the industry or in this world. Concepts from Gary Vee or Seth Godin or whoever, Alex Hormozy or whatever it is, but it's my interpretation. It's the same with AI. It's their interpretation. And so just be curious and always test a few models to start with. Second is, don't just back your hands off. Don't like think that it's going to solve everything quickly and you don't need to be involved. You need to be involved. Don't just think you can punch something in, copy and paste it and job done. So don't just think it's going to solve it in the first prompt. Ask other people. Ask others around you in your community, in your network, what have they seen work? Go on forums, just read. I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos. Whenever I'm cooking, I've got a YouTube video open talking about newest innovation in marketing, in AI, in growth. So just be curious, consume a lot of content, and then start to contextualize it. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. What else do we need to cover today that we haven't already when we're talking about using AI in your everyday work?
So some key fundamentals, we've touched on it, but I want to reiterate the importance of, like you said, garbage in, garbage out. There's another concept of the dead internet theory, which is just this self-fulfilling prophecy of shit. And it's only going to get worse, because if everyone's just doing ChatGPT output without any good context, then the output's garbage, which then gets pasted on their website, which then feeds the beast. And so have some good foundations. Think about your audience. Think about your tone, your brand, your style. Think about constraints, things you do and don't want to say. And this all comes down to building better AI outputs. Have an evaluation method. Like, is it just simply you reading it and sense checking it? is there a set of rules around always check for em dashes or hyperbole or common phrases or UK versus US spelling? There needs to be a sort of evaluation criteria to make sure that at least bare minimum, particularly as you're building a team, if you empower them to use AI, you can confidently know that anyone in the business has kind of gone through the standard constraints, do's and don'ts, evaluation methods. You can be more confident as a business owner that you're not putting shit out there, that you're not going to end up on the front of a newspaper or whatever because your business has just copy and pasted something clearly straight out of ChatGPT. So set up some frameworks, either for yourself as a small sole operator or as a team. Empower your team to use it, encourage them and excite them about it, excite them that it's not going to take their job. In fact, it's a growth opportunity. If you don't adopt it, sure, maybe you're going to lose out because someone else who can come in and do it better than you is worth more to a business. That's fair, in my opinion. Like, adopt or die, you know, and it's not in a crass way, but you've got to adopt. So encourage your team, you know, and just have that good foundation. Don't just expect it to be a quick fix. Like, a good output might take you an hour. And the problem is we're all like, we're thinking it's going to solve it in a minute, and an hour feels like forever. But the alternative was multiple meetings, multiple people involved, multiple thousands of dollars of external people involved to copyright or to brand this or to market creative design that. So an hour is a good use of your time versus hours and hours and thousands and thousands. Just be curious, explore, test, learn, note the nuance, set up some frameworks, do some courses, understand the importance of prompting. Probably a lot of the main ones.
And that segues perfectly into our community of practice with the AI Apprentice, where it's free online. You can join us, and there's about 35 experiments in there for you to play with and get feedback from other people as you go. So check out that at providercollective.com.au also.
Cool.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Before we go, if someone else wants to reach out to you to have a chat about how you might be able to help them, what's the best way to get in touch?
Most active on LinkedIn. So just search Christopher Larper on LinkedIn. I should probably change that to Chris. Christopher Larper on LinkedIn, or just head to thegrowthacademy.com.au.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
In 30 minutes, you just learned what most business owners will spend months trying to figure out on their own. Want to keep that momentum going? Join our free AI Apprentice community at providercollective.com.au. Hundreds of business owners testing tools and sharing real wins. Come and be an AI apprentice with me. Let's become masters together. I'll see you next week, or better yet, I'll see you inside the community today.